What's going on, guys? So we are out here in the shop, going to be replacing the blades on the Toro. Well, actually going to be doing a couple things. First of all, you see this hose right here? The other half is right over there. My dad was helping me mow the grass. He drove over the hose and got it all tied up underneath there. I was able to get this piece out, but there's a section in the middle that is completely wrapped up and it looks pretty nasty. So I'll probably go ahead and remove the blades and go ahead and replace the blades while I'm at it with some fresh blades and get that hose untwined around the spindle. Let me show you what's going on under here though. There you go. It is wrapped up pretty tight. I've been able to get a few pieces off of it by cutting, but certainly is on there pretty tight. And I figured while I'm at it, might as well remove the blades and go ahead and replace them with some new ones. These actually don't appear to be in that bad a shape. I'm gonna be able to just resharpen them. Yeah, these aren't that bad, so they've been lasting a little longer. I gotta remember which blades I have here, because I'm actually pretty impressed. The edge isn't even really that dull. Huh. Well, definitely need to remove the middle one so I can go ahead and get to that. So let's go ahead and get that started. Man, that is really tight around there. There we go. Got it all out. I want to pull this blade out real quick and see what it looks like. All right. You know, honestly, this blade isn't in that bad a shape. It's a little dull over here on the edge, but it's actually in pretty good shape. That's definitely worth putting back in there. Very nice. Let's go ahead and throw that back in. We have a lot of stuff going on. One of the projects that I didn't really plan on tackling today was mowing the back half of the property. So I opted to get on the Toro, the 2000 HDX. And as you saw earlier in the video, there was a bunch of hose that was caught underneath it. My father actually used it last. He loves that mower. He prefers that mower when he's out here. I'm usually found on the Scag. But yeah, I cut all that off and hopefully, you know, there hadn't been any issues, and there wasn't, so thankfully everything worked out really well. But the point of today's video is to give you guys a comparison between the Scag and the Toro. A lot of folks are constantly asking me, which one do I prefer now that I've had them for some time? And I'm going to be very, very frank and honest with you that my decision on these mowers has changed since I've had them for a while now. So let's talk about it. Hang tight. I'll be right back. Okay, so in front of you, you were looking at our Toro 2000 HDX. This is a commercial mower. It's kind of the first step into the Toro line of zero-turn commercial mowers. And then we have our Scag Cheetah 2, which is definitely on the upper end of the Scag pole in terms of model lines, right? This is just below the Turf Tiger, but it's second in line to the top. They're both 61-inch or 60-61-inch decks, and you can tell by looking at the Scag, especially when you're close up, that this is just a much beefier, heavier mower than the Toro. They both have suspension platforms. The Toro definitely has a more cushy suspension platform, but sometimes that's not a plus, especially when you're out here with the type of lawn we have where it's super rutted. A lot of gophers like to leave tunnels underground, and it's like going over a bunch of speed bumps the whole time. This one kind of throws you around a little bit. This one's a little bit more dampened. That said, though, if I could do all this over again, I would probably just get two of the Toros and not get the Scag. I personally feel as if the performance of the Toro, especially considering it's got a significantly lower horsepower motor on it. This is the FX 730. I believe this thing's like 24.5 horsepower, something like that. This one right here is like 38 horsepower. This is the FX 1000 with fuel injection. And yeah, to be honest with you, I would probably just get two of the Toros. They perform so well. They don't bog down. Either of them really don't bog down that much unless you're going through really, really tall grass, but it seems to be just about equal. Just overall, the performance of the Toro for the price, because you're going to pay about, I think about $7 grand for this, and you're going to pay about 13 grand for that. You could roughly get two of these for the price of that. And so far, I've just been a bigger fan of this mower. It to me is overall been performing better. We have like 200 hours on this one. We have like 50 hours on this one. Again, I prefer to take this one out. My dad prefers to take this one out. This one is a little less comfortable when you're going faster over rutted areas. This one's a lot more comfortable going faster over rutted areas. You sit a lot lower in this one, but overall I would have to say that from a performance perspective, they perform about the same. This one feels lighter and more nimble, and again, it feels more comfortable when you're going slower. The fuel tanks on this is nice, having dual fuel tanks, even though I only use one of them. This one right here, I don't like the fact that I don't have a dedicated fuel gauge on it, which I think would be the one huge ask I would ask of Toro to include on these. Overall though, they both perform really well, but for most tasks, we find ourselves gravitating towards this one. And again, the cut quality, cut performance, in my opinion, is pretty much equal between the two. I don't think you really have to go up any higher in terms of model on this one to compete against this. And that's the part that's confusing to some. Some folks might think you need to buy the highest end Toro, like a 4000 or 6000 series, to compete against this. But in reality, at cutting speed, which they're pretty much both the same, about 10-mile-an-hour cutting speed, they both perform roughly the same, and you can save a boatload of money on this one versus the Scag. I've never had one single issue with the Toro mechanically at all. The Scag Cheetah, you probably remember this one had to go back to the shop several times because a spindle froze up on the deck and caused quite a bit more damage than just replacing a spindle. And that was unfortunate. Plus all the accessories, the things you can connect to this for buckets, tools, all of that, weed eater, and you have to kind of find things for the Cheetah to be able to allow you to do that through other companies. All of this is going to be complete Toro. This is going to be kind of a hodgepodge of other stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the Scag. I love the Cheetah too. I love the fact that I have this huge, beefy commercial mower. I just don't like the fact that it doesn't perform significantly better than a relatively entry-level commercial mower from Toro. Just being completely honest with you, I do feel as if for the price and the value, again, I could have gotten two of these for the price of one of these, or almost, and that in itself, especially considering the performance and how well it's been working, makes me kind of lean in favor of the Toro. And if I had to do it all over again, I would say even for commercial work, I would probably lean more towards the Toro. The Scag is a beast, but I'm just, again, a little underwhelmed by the performance of the much more powerful, larger displacement engine. 38, 39 horsepower, FX 1000 versus something that has like 23.5, 24.5 in that range. And the fact that this performs just as well. Travel speed is slower. I never put this in the highest travel speed setting, which can go like 16 miles an hour, which is stupid fast, which that might be really important to some folks. But mowing speed, cutting speed for me is the most important, and these both cut, up to 10 miles an hour just as efficiently as each other. Again, this is much bulkier, much heavier. I do like it. If I had to do it over again, I would probably not have gotten this and then get two of these. Anyways, I'd love to know your thoughts. That's probably the best way I can point it out. Blade wear and all that's roughly the same. Maintenance on them is roughly the same. This one starts up a little easier or quicker because it is fuel injected, but not noticeably. That's the thing. It's not a big difference. You just pull the choke on this one, start it up, and you're good to go. I never really have a problem starting either of them, and that's something that might matter to some folks. They've both performed very, very well for how I've needed to use them. It's just I'm getting similar performance out of this. Overall, I have to say the reliability on this one's been a little bit better because of the issue I had with the spindle at less than 2 hours on this mower. I know Scag has a huge following, and I know that this is a very, very popular mower, especially for cities and governments and municipalities. But for the price, especially for me being, a property owner and not necessarily, mowing with these things every single day, I'd have to say the 2000 HDX has performed very, very well. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update because I know people are interested in knowing these things. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't had a chance, give me a thumbs up. We'll talk to you again very soon.